面比较基本的一个过程哈。就项目管理有5个过程，你可以看到从这里 initiating 开始，这个项目启动、项目计划、项目实施、项目实施过程中的管控啊，还有项目结束，这么一个5个过程，那就是 initiating、planning、executing、monitoring and controlling， 然后 closing。那所有的项目，包括我们建筑的项目，包括 IT 的项目，包括其他什么很大的项目，都会经历过这5个过程。这只是跟大家说一下这些 background 的知识啊。然后谁要来参加？那如果你是想加入这个行业比如说你要成为一个小开发商，你要成为一个建筑公司工地的一个管工、项目经理，那你可以来参加这个。如果你要提高你的管理水平，你已经在这个行业了我曾经有自己参与的这个，我经常听过2句话，一句就是 Frank， 我已经盖了100栋房子，我都这么盖了，怎么到你这就不行了这是第一句话第二句话就是大哥，我钱不要了还不行吗？就是这种，就是说我们现在这种话就充斥了我们整个行业，这是很不对的并不等于就是说很多人他确实是非常有经验、实践经验，他盖了100多栋、200栋房子了。但是呢，你会发现他做的事情是违规的。那还有呢，就根本没有这种合同还是这种合同的意思，或者说符合不符合建筑规范的这种意识，他就觉得我连钱都不要了，你还能把我怎么样这是很不对的。就是你的就是说大家为什么会说有没有 Master Builder Warranty？其实 Master Builder 他高高在上，他哪里能管得了那么多项目？那完全是因为我们作为一个 responsible 的 builder， 负责任的 builder， 他 commit to Master Builder 这个 standard 以后呢，他自然而然他就自律自觉的去做。你如果没有这种自觉的话，他做出来的事情肯定是不对的所以说很多现在在这个行业里面做的也需要也可以来我们这个课程去提高他的管理水平。然后呢，如果你是个开发商，那你要最佳的项目的回报。你学了这个课程，你知道怎么管理你的开发项目。你这个开发项目是承包给建筑公司、承包给项目经理去管理，但是你知道如何管理它。然后你如果是一个建筑公司的老板的话，那你应该让你的员工来参加，就是说你的员工就有能够更好的做好他的工作。而不是说大家都是这种师傅教徒弟教出来的。那我现在就把这个 I hand it over to you now, David. All right. 我们就欢迎那个 David Nami 老师来给我们讲第1堂课，好吧？那个 David 呢应该是有，我都不知道他有多少年间，40几年吧。然后在 Unitech 30来年，然后也当过他们的建筑施工分校的校长，也当过他们工程分校的校长，就 School of Construction 还有 School of Engineering， 他都做过 Head of School。所以我们很高兴能请到他来讲这堂课。这堂课是 Administration Process and Procedures for Construction Work。民宅建筑施工行政管理程序及建筑施工程序，是有点像一个overview 我们的这个项目。当你接到这个项目的时候，你该怎么弄？然后他讲完以后呢，我会再回来再讲我们今天的实战演练的一些东西，好吧？有都有。我们到时候会。对都有，我们这 PPT 都会给大家。然后呢，我们会建一个 Google Drive， 然后大家可以到上面去 download。那如果大家有download 有一些困难的话，可以告诉我们 email 给你然后如果有一些材料的话，我们也会打印出来。 And this is the one. Yep. And you want to...
Oh, we'll try this.
No, it's a link to the camera.
It's a camera.
It's not...
It's not for them. I have to speak very loudly.
You want... you can use the...
No, it's okay, Frank.
If you need it, you can use this.
Okay.
So you don't need to yell.
You don't have to yell.
Shouting.
I get too tired. Hey, he's put the chair there because I'm a very old man and he thinks that I might have to sit down. Good afternoon. Kia ora. Ni hao. My name is David Nummy. There, David Nummy. It's really, really, really great to be here this afternoon and to see all your faces. The first thing I will do is congratulate you on making a decision to become involved in the construction industry. I think you have made a very, very sensible and wise decision to do so, because there are many opportunities for people within the construction industry, not only in New Zealand but internationally, of course. Now, I have been to China many, many times. I think I told Frank I have been to China 30 times I've visited, but I do not speak Chinese. So my presentation is in English. Is that okay? So everyone will understand my English. So that's good.
如果有人不太明白的问题，或者说实在是很重要的，你们可以叫这里我还有助教都在这里，都会翻译。Just say, you know, if they really need to know it accurately,
Yep.
they can sing out.
Okay. So Frank has given me the first session, which is on administrative processes, which is the boring stuff. Okay, it is. When you're involved in the construction industry, my experience is that people want to get out there and do things. People in the construction industry are action people. They just want to do things. But today's session is about some background knowledge that you have to have before you can start doing things. So while it may seem boring, it is actually important that you understand some of these things. And it is quite possible that many of you do know the things that I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to put it into a context where it applies to the construction industry. The first thing I would like to say is that you cannot contract out of the law. The law in New Zealand applies to everybody, and you cannot contract out of it. In other words, I can't come to you and say, I'll build you a house, and let's forget about the Building Act, I'll just build you a house. You cannot do that. That by saying that I will build you a house and you saying, yes, that's fine, we have a contract. But we cannot contract out of the New Zealand law. It applies regardless. Okay, and we are all subject to the law in New Zealand, so we can't contract out. The same with something like health and safety. You cannot enter into an agreement or a contract with your employee, your worker, to say, oh, let's do this, forget about the health and safety, we'll just do this. No, you cannot do that. The law applies all the time. So, administrative processes and procedures for construction work. These are the things that we will be going through today. We'll be looking at tendering, we'll be looking at contracts and standard conditions of contracts, the role of a schedule of quantities, and very quickly looking at some monitoring process. Those are the four key things that I will cover with you this afternoon. I've got some terms up there already which I'm not certain whether you understand. A schedule of quantities. What does that mean? And if I say to you, my background is an architect, Frank's an engineer, you know what those things are, you know what a builder does. Do you know what a quantity surveyor does? Probably you do. I, in my role at Unitec, used to go and visit schools, and I'd talk to school students, and I'd say, who wants to be an architect? Everyone puts up their hand. Lots of people put up. Who wants to be an engineer? Lots of people put up their hands. Who wants to be a quantity surveyor? No one puts up their hands. No one knows what a quantity surveyor does. I know that a quantity surveyor makes lots of money. But we will talk about the role of the quantity surveyor as well. So, what is the context for managing a residential building project or construction work? And I'm going to reinforce, or I'm going to repeat some of the things that Frank has just said. But I'll do it slightly differently. So I will talk about scope, what it is that we are building. That is at the key, that is at the centre of our context, the scope of work. You'll often hear people talk about the scope of work. Okay, that is what is it that we are building. The cost, the quality, and the time. Those are things that we have to manage. Those are what Frank put up on his slide just a couple of minutes ago. But particularly with residential construction, I have put health and safety as a major item that we have to manage. Okay, construction industry, particularly in New Zealand, is a dangerous place. Our accident rate within the construction industry is high, particularly in residential construction. So, in terms of workplace injury and in terms of workplace death, construction industry ranks up with forestry and with farming. In some years it is worse. Okay, generally in New Zealand we have a small population, 4 million people, just over 4 million people, half the size of a Chinese city, or only half the size of one Chinese city. But in New Zealand, there will be between 5 and 12 people killed in the construction industry every year. Okay, and it's our responsibility to ensure that that doesn't happen, and that we send the people that work for us and work for you, we send them home safely every day. That's a major responsibility that we have. So those are the 4 things that we have to particularly focus on when managing construction projects. The cost, obviously, the quality, the stated quality. When we talk about quality, it doesn't necessarily mean high quality. It means the quality that has been agreed. So, for example, if I was to buy a, let's say, traditional car, a Rolls-Royce car, that would be at a different quality than if I bought a Toyota Corolla. They are both cars, but they are built to different quality standards. They are both built for purpose, for the purpose that they are manufactured for. So when we talk about quality, we're not saying high quality, we're saying whatever the stated quality is that we have to achieve. Then around, oh, there's a circle there, it's disappeared in the screen. Around these are the other things that impact. So we have a design team, we have finance, we have sustainability, okay, procurement, that's another word that we'll talk about, legal requirements and administration. So those are the things that surround our project, and let's not forget the community. Okay, we don't build in isolation. So what we are doing will have an impact on our neighbours, on the community that we are in. And it depends on the project. It can be very, very important. So, for example, when Fletcher's built this stadium, the latest stadium at Eden Park, there were no community complaints. They were constantly engaging with the community in the surrounding area to keep them informed, to look to protect their welfare, and so that the job was running smoothly. And then around the whole of that is good communication. So that's the context that we are working in. Okay, the scope of work, what has to be built, cost, time, quality, safety, and all of these other factors around the outside. So Frank talked about this as well, but I will reinforce it because it sets the context. Project scope. How do we know what it is that we are building? Project scope is defined by the drawings. The architect or the engineer will produce the documents or the drawings for the project, for your residential project. That is the fundamental definition of scope. We then have the specifications which describe the quality of the work that has to go in and the quality of the materials. We may have some code compliance acceptable solutions also within the scope of works. So remember, I've said you cannot contract out of New Zealand law, you cannot contract out of the construction regulations, which include compliance solutions. What is our contract? That defines the scope of work. What are the conditions of our contract? So we have an agreement and then we have conditions. There's two parts of it. There we are again, schedule of quantities may be part of the scope, and we may have a construction plan, which is your plan. That goes into the scope of work. So you take all of these things here that may be prepared by consultants, but you put them into a construction plan. And often you will take your construction plan back to the client, back to the owner, because it's required in the conditions of contract to do so, and say, this is my plan. This is how we're going to build a building. Okay, so that becomes part of the definition of scope. So Frank's going to introduce you to your case study assignment later this afternoon. Sorry. Did he tell you there's homework? Oh. So the part of the learning that you're going to do on this course is these sessions, when you're here. But just as important is the stuff that you will do as together, as a group, or by yourself. Okay? And so there will be a project that runs through the course, and it's a case study. So it's important that you engage in that work as well. Okay? That's called self-directed learning. Okay, so it's not just listening to me and all the other people that come here. You have to do some of this work yourself. So you will have a set of drawings for your case study. However, what I'm saying is that there is a building there, and the drawings show what you have to build. They are part of the scope of works. They show you what you have to build. So, the first thing that we have to look at today is tendering. Tendering. So, in construction, or with any particular discipline, there is always a separate language. Okay, there are always technical terms that apply to that discipline or industry. So there's a whole range of terms and language that we use in construction. And if you talk to someone outside of construction, they don't understand what you're talking about. It's the same. It's the same with any profession, same with any industry or vocation. There is a language that is used to describe what you do in that language, in that industry. So what we're introducing to you is perhaps starting to introduce some technical terms that are specific to the construction industry. Tendering applies to other industries, but it is also important for construction. So what I'm trying to produce now is, what is the context? So here's another word, procurement. Procurement. So procurement is the process of obtaining or purchasing construction services or anything else. Procurement. This is how you obtain or purchase construction service. That's the general term for this process, procurement. And there are many different ways that the construction of a building can be procured. And the selected route should follow a strategy which fits the objectives of the client, and they are likely to cover these things here. So you decide, how are we going to procure, or how are we going to tender this project? Might be to do with the speed, how quickly we have to build it, what the cost is, what the quality. There may be some specific constraints. What is the risk? How is the building going to be owned, and how is it going to be financed? So in construction, when we're putting buildings together, there's risk. There's risk. Okay, there's risk of cost escalation, there's design risk, there's financial risk, there's technical risk, there's construction risk. And if I am the owner, what I want to do is to reduce my risk. I want to reduce my risk. And I want to put all the risk onto you, because you are the contractor and you can take all the risk. Okay, there are examples of this. I'll give you an example of this in a large building. Fletcher's, and Frank's worked for Fletcher's. Fletcher's are currently building convention centre. You know the big building in whatever street it is, Hobson Street, owned by the casino. Convention centre was meant to be open in July of this year. They are saying it will not be open until December. So there was the risk of time there. The project hasn't been completed. Okay? And the cost of the building has gone up. But the casino put all of that risk onto the contractor. So the contractor is now losing money on the project. Okay, Fletcher's at the moment have lost $250 million on that project. The casino have kept their costs the same. And because now the building is being late, they are adding what's called liquidated damages. So for every day that the building is late, they are charging Fletcher's. So the Fletcher's bill is getting higher and higher and higher, because the casino shifted that risk onto the contractor. So depending on your risk profile, you might set up a contract to do that, to shift the risk to the contractor. So, the most common method for procuring a building is sometimes called a traditional method, but more technically correct, a lump sum method. A lump sum contract is the traditional means of procuring construction, and it's the most common form of contract. So I have the plans for my house, how much to build it. You give me a figure to build. You will build my house for $1 million. Okay, we sign on it. We have a contract. That is called a lump sum contract. So it is a price that the contractor has offered to me as the client, and I have accepted. Offer and acceptance is a contract for $1 million. That is a lump sum contract. And I've said here, generally when the project is well defined, okay, when you have very, very good drawings and good documentation, that is an appropriate way of procuring or tendering a building, is on a lump sum contract. But however, a lump sum is not a fixed price. So you've said you will build a house for me for $1 million, but in this case, it is not fixed. So you can say, oh, this house has taken 8 months to build, and the price of timber or the price of concrete has increased. So you are able to claim increased costs in a lump sum contract. in the Fletcher's contract, they weren't. They were on a fixed price. They said, we are going to build it for this much. Okay, and they should have allowed for all increased costs. They should have allowed enough time to build it. But Fletchers have forgotten how to build. Sorry, Frank. All right, so they have a problem. But with a lump sum contract, you can claim increased costs. So it's a lump sum, but you can increase it. So, however, from a client's perspective, from my perspective, there's more certainty. I know what I'm up for, $1 million. Okay, and as I say, there's still mechanisms within that contract to change.
Shall we have a break?
Yeah, good time. We're now looking at tendering, and you've got notes in front of you now, so you can write on them. Okay, that's the idea of having the notes, and you can write on them, add things, because I won't necessarily just read what's on the screen. So